self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am ridiculously ill. Also known as Calamity Red.
Ill? That word make it sound like you got a disease.
I mean, I have a cold.
Ill just always been a worse word to me than like a cold.
But I am ill.
I mean, in a general sense, but every time you hear the word ill, somebody about to die.
Well, I hope they know I ain't about to die. I would be on. I had to send in something for you to read. If I was about to die.
What would you do if something happened to me?
What, as far as the show?
Are you done with the show? Like, I ain't never gonna hear from you again?
What do you mean if something happened to you?
If I died, or if
I would probably do
change my identity and escape to Mexico for whatever reason.
Then I would probably do like a follow-up show to explain. That'd be it. I'm gonna do it by myself.
Why not?
Because I don't think I could carry. Nobody want to listen to me ramble on for an hour. Just me talking.
Don't you got YouTube followers?
I do, but that's not none of my videos are for an hour. This is a different platform.
Made one for an hour, you're not certain that they wouldn't watch it all the way through.
Hell, I would watch a bit.
I listen to this for 2 hours, which by nature has to be 1 hour of you.
Not necessarily. It's the combination of us. So I feel like if it was just me talking, and what about I want to listen to that? Not for the whole hour. 2 hours. We up to 2 hours now.
There are plenty of people who do their own podcast. They talk for that long.
I know they do. I'm saying I don't believe they would want to listen to me talk for an hour. I just don't think I'm entertaining.
Well, I would still do the podcast.
Okay.
If you disappeared, taped you on a mustache, went to Mexico because of whatever crime you done committed, which is probably you done something to some dude.
Yeah.
And we know about it, but we know where you're going to. I'm doing a show by myself. I'm pretending like you just disappeared. Because I can't give them no hints.
No, you can't. You gotta act like you don't know.
Exactly.
Fans gonna be listening. You gotta pretend like you don't know.
But I'll let you know, I will continue the show.
I wouldn't. Because I don't think, I just don't think anybody want to hear me go on for like an hour. I know other people do it successfully, but like I said, even with YouTube, it's like that. At most, maybe 20 minutes is probably like the longest, and even that was too long. So,
but people watched it though,
because it's me visually and me talking. This would be just me talking for an hour. I just don't think nobody want to hear it.
Whatever.
So
maybe
I'm sure that y'all let me know if y'all want to hear me go on for an hour.
I did. I thought doing this individual show would be the case, but when I did. What happened? Was it the one where I deleted it, or one where you lost the card where I did the solo show?
I think it's where you deleted it, because the one where I lost the card, I lost the card, so I came back. I think we just recorded it, or maybe I don't know. I don't remember what happened.
I did the individual show, and I was like, I could do this. I just didn't. I thought it would. I mean, I really don't care if people would want to hear me or not.
Oh well.
I mean, I don't care if people listen to us now.
Well, I mean, but Conversation Con Artists is based off the two of us. So if I was going to continue, it wouldn't be under the title of it would be under this name, because it ain't Con Artist. It's just me.
Just make it one then. Make it singular. But, to clarify, I do care that people listen, but me recording this show with Calamity Red is not contingent upon whether people listen or not. This is a major part of my self-care from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I suggest that everybody find some measure of self-care. I also make candles. I also bake. I debate. I consider that part of my self-care. So everybody should have that. But for me, this is what that is. So if Red chose not to participate, or got that mustache and went to Mexico, then I think I would continue recording. I guess the dynamic and the purpose of it would change.
Yeah.
But like you said, but I would definitely do it. Anyway, We are back for another fantastic episode. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. MISTER_on point.
And I can be found at red_calamity. Also, we're still doing the listener letter portion of the show. So if you have a question you would like for us to answer, you can send it into our Gmail account, which is conversationcardartist@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Conversation Card Artist, and send us that way. And we have like 4 short emails from Colin.
Yeah, see, Colin be live emailing and messaging the show.
He does.
Which is cool. Like, do that if you're listening to the show and you have some kind of dialogue that you want to impart your knowledge on. Or if you just got an opinion about something we going through. Or, or if me and Red having a debate and you want to let us know what your side of that is, because I just found out from some of my friends this weekend or this past week that I got hands put on me in the debate about the doctor. Now, I still maintain my perspective in that.
Which doctor? We had 2 conversations. We had one about the
I guess
tested.
the one about when the doctor,
the dancing doctor,
was dancing.
Okay, because we also had the one where you were saying that you didn't care if the doctors got drug tested or not. If he did his job, you didn't think it was a profession that had to be drug tested.
I don't know which one. I didn't clarify.
Because we had 2 doctor debates where we deferred.
Maintain both of my positions. It's about the quality of the service.
Not when it comes to my health. Like, again, you got other professions that don't even deal in holding people's life and in the balance and shit that have to be drug tested to ensure that they're capable of doing their job. And then you have doctors out here with fucking scalpels all willy-nilly.
I think that's more so exclusionary criteria. And I think that's when you're dealing with a field in which people ain't expected to be held to high standards. Like,
but a doctor ain't held to high standards. You would expect them to be.
What I'm saying is, if you get a job at Walmart, they need to know if you do crack. They need to know if you are on meth.
Why? Why for Walmart and not for your doctor?
Because Walmart is a retail industry. That's the difference between all of your video games being stolen and all of your TVs being stolen and merchandise being misplaced.
Okay.
Versus a system where you can't really easily access that stuff and take it, but you're also expected to operate on a certain level of standard. Like, our field expect us not to be heavily involved in substances by default because of what we do. Like, I think they put a lot of the individual responsibility on the fact that you don't went through all this education, you don't pay all this money in order to maintain your status in that field. Shit, you can't be doing drugs.
No, that's not true. It's a lot of functioning. We just gonna rehash this same conversation. What was his letters? Because this is the same thing over again.
Like I maintain my perspectives. But Colin says, Red, good morning. You are 50% right. Beards do not have a truly practical function.
No, they do not.
It's similar to growing a certain hairstyle, for example. However, some men need their beards. Not sure if you've heard the saying that beards are makeup for men. Many of these dudes out here are saving themselves from feeling judged for or ridiculed for having a turkey neck or a weak chin.
So this was in response to the conversation we had about Gray Shirt, who told me that eyebrows serve the purpose of covering your eyes from the sun, because I was saying that beards don't have a purpose. So he sent us a link with some pictures of guys. Did you see the pictures?
I did.
Without beards. And Colin, you are 100% right, because those dudes looked horrible without those beards. They absolutely needed those beards in order to have a level of attractiveness, because it was all kind of weird stuff going on underneath the beard. Like some of them had turkey neck. Some of them just had like really round face. Like, it helps. It does help. So you know what? You're right. It is makeup for men. It absolutely is. I didn't realize how much beard transforms a face, but I feel like hats do the same thing. But I'm swiping through Tinder. If you have hats on in your pictures, I need at least one picture without a hat on, because I need to see. Because what I've found is that hats make a big difference too. Like how somebody looks with a hat on as opposed to how they look without it, because underneath that hat could be a horrifically terrible lineup. Like their hairline could be really far back or some shit. Like that's why they wearing a hat, or they got a humongous forehead. So I need to see you without your hat on. I don't do all your pictures with hats on. I need to see what you look like minus the hat. Now the beard, you could keep that on there all the time. Ain't no, unless your job requires you to take the beard off, you gonna have your beard, but hats are not something you wear all the time. So I need to know what you look like underneath that hat, because that is also something that like adds to the attractiveness of men if they got some weird shit going on up top. So yeah, I agree. Because definitely with the pictures he said, them shits look
so
look crazy.
Over the course of time, does that make a practical function for beard? It don't have a like physical practical function for the sake of our bodies, but
no,
in a social context, the practical function is for attraction.
I guess. Well,
I mean, if you think back all the way back to the cave days, like we wouldn't have beards growing this much without a functional purpose if for some reason the people with beards didn't breed consistently. So for the fact that most men beards just grow and we don't have that many Anthony Hamilton pubic hair beards out here,
yeah.
I think that means that it does have social practical value.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, listen, beards do add something to men. Like I don't know if it's, I don't want to say it adds to a level of masculinity, but it just adds to, I don't know.
Maybe it's something like in terms of being, I think way back when I do stuff. Maybe it was equivalent to a man that was perceived as more likely to be able to protect a woman or protect a family, or maybe to some degree made men look more intimidating when faced with other creatures or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
all of those.
Because cats, goosebumps is the equivalent to what cats have when all their hair stand up and it make them look like much bigger than they are. I don't know.
Maybe, but I know that it doesn't serve a function. I knew that, but I did not think about aesthetically. But he is absolutely right. Aesthetically, it does add and hide some undesirable features. So if you got something weird going on with the lower part of your face, beard helps. But caveat to that is the ability to grow a beard, because not everybody can do that, because you do have the patchiness where it don't grow in certain spots, and some people can't grow beards. Some people just can't grow beards, man.
So I'm sure you've seen the videos, but they got them like lace front ball spot cover weird things and them lace beards.
Yeah.
Would you date a man that had that?
No.
You wouldn't know if he had the top hair.
Like, you gonna have to get it changed at some point.
But you wouldn't know. Unless you go to the barbershop with it.
I'm saying at some point in our relationship, we got married and shit. Like,
so how far into the relationship that once you find that out, it's a wrap? Like, because I know at some point this person offers way more to you than you know what I'm saying, care about that hair. But
I mean, I would just try to. It depends. If I'm too far in to like just leave because of something kind of petty like that, I would just try to talk him into stop doing the shit. Just be bald. It's fine. Like, your head shape is good. Just be bald. You don't need to do this. It's stupid. You look stupid.
Why not? But you've liked his hair up to this point, even though
when I thought it was his hair.
So it's about the principle. It ain't even about the fact that he looks attractive with it like that.
No, because it's stupid.
But what if he got like an alien head?
You better invest in some hats when we go out, nigga. I just don't, because here's the thing. Dudes, there are plenty of dudes that don't like women that wear weaves and wigs and shit. They have a problem with it. They don't like it. It's their preference. My preference is for you to just, if you ain't got it just be bald, At this age and moving forward, niggas losing hair. That's just what happens. Just we'll work it out, but this lace front shit it ain't the gig. We not doing it.
Which one is worse to you? A man that has gone bald and is choosing to keep his head shaved bald all the time, or a man who got a 5 head because he's not willing to let it go?
the one who chooses to keep his head bald all the time. The fuck is you doing? First of all, doing a little George Jefferson or whatever's left of them make you look so much older than you are. It ages you so bad. And it's just sad. Anytime I see a man with like just a little bit of hair left up there, I'm just like, player, let it go. Let it go. Especially when it's niggas with like dreads. Like, listen, I know you took, 15 years to grow these dreads. I get it. But at the point that they start back here, that's crazy. Why are you hanging on? Because you look crazy. Like you still got long dreads on like the bottom fourth of your head though. Like what? No, just let it go. It's sad. Every time I see a dude out, I'm just like, oh, he can't let it go. That's sad. Poor guy. I'd rather you just be bald. Just shave it bald. Just let it go. You can't help it. Male pattern baldness happens. It's just what you have to do. It's fine. Women are bald out here now. Like it ain't even like it's everybody loves bald heads right now. You're good. Just be bald. It's fine. But I'm not with the lace front shit. It's stupid.
Well, when you find out.
Like I said, now if it's early enough, I might just be like, okay, I ain't got time for this shit. That's too much. Or again, if it's further in, then hopefully I will have gained enough influence where I'm just like, you don't have to do
you think
that.
it's an indicator of underlying issues for a man that's willing to go to that extreme
Yeah.
to make sure he's still...
Yeah, it's an insecurity, and it could be a couple of things. Losing hair, getting older, and especially if it happened when you're younger and people expect, there's just certain things that people expect you to have. And being a man, having a nice hairline, people, and so it's obviously an insecurity in going bald. So to alleviate that, you just don't let people know you're going bald by putting on a lace front. But the extremes, that's extreme. Because you have to go get that shit done regularly. And they basically glue that shit on your head. You walk around with some shit glued on your head for, I don't know how long it lasts at a time, but it does speak to an insecurity. You ain't, accepted the fact that either genetics got you fucked up or age just caught up with you. It's one of them two things. Either way, ain't shit you can do about it. But just go bald. That's all you have to do.
Okay. That being said, for next week's recording, can you talk more about things people do that seem kind of silly to attract suitors? It can be what straight people do, LGBTQ people do, etc. But y'all, check out this pic. My man should grow the best beard he can for real. Kind regards, Colin. And that goes to the picture of the guy with the turkey neck situation that needs a beard.
Because it'll give the illusion of a neck
Just
being
go to
there.
Google and put men that need beards, and I'm sure you find a whole bunch of the kind of people that Colin is talking about. But I think, to me, going, especially for men, going to a lace front measure of trying to get hair the way you want it, trying to maintain the hair, I think that is silly.
That's a lot. You gotta find somebody that do it, because ain't all barbershops gonna offer their service.
And
so
it
you
can't
gotta.
Be cheap.
It ain't. I'm sure it isn't. And again, how often do you have to do it? You know what I'm saying? What's the upkeep? It just seems like a lot when you could just go bald. Just go bald. I don't understand. But as far as silly stuff people do, one of the things that I have had to be real direct with people about, because I'm single, and so people always like to give you suggestions when you're single about what you need to be doing in order to meet somebody, because apparently if you're single it's because you just ain't doing the right shit. But anyhow, I digress. That's another conversation. But they're always saying, well, you should go to these kind of events and this kind of thing and go to this church. And my problem with that, and why I think that's silly, is I'm going to go meet you at something that you're genuinely interested in, but I was only in to meet you. You know what I'm saying? So then once we start dating and you want to continue to do this shit I have no interest in, now I'm stuck doing some shit I don't want to do because I met you under the guise of I like to do this kind of thing too. Whether it be I don't actively go to church, so me going to church solely for the fact of meeting somebody is silly to me, because you obviously at church it's something you enjoy doing. Now you're gonna expect me to go to church with you on Sundays, and when we become serious, and I'm gonna have a problem with it. Well, not necessarily, but it's something that wouldn't have had to happen had I not been at that place solely to meet somebody. Or like, you know, our new mayor is a young black man, so a lot of the events and stuff being held around the city, you know, they're like, oh, you need to go to these, you know, these dinners and stuff. I don't like doing shit like that. I don't like getting dressed up. I don't want to meet a guy who's like super into politics and shit, and now I got to get dressed up and go out with you to these damn events and shit that I don't really want to do. Like, I don't think that you should go try to meet people doing activities that you not really have an interest in. Like, I just don't think that's gonna work long term. Like, cause now again, they're gonna expect you to do this shit with them.
But those people, do those people generally just think you should go to those places, or they did not know what your interests were to give you suggestions that are realistic to what you would enjoy?
No, they know that I wasn't. But
so why wouldn't they say for you to go to a dog park? But
because they feel like, again, they're looking at the type of men that would be at this particular thing, right? They're feeling like, oh, you know, nice black educated men are gonna be at these,
so
like,
they're just looking for you to have a specific type of person
in mind. Yes.
So what's more important to you, that you have the kind of person that have those qualities that Tyler Perry black men got, or is it more important that they don't have that, but they just be more in touch with things that you enjoy and you like and connect with you better?
I feel like you can have both. I feel like I don't think you have to choose between somebody you share interests with and somebody that's successful, because that's basically what they're saying, is that the more successful, career-minded people are going to be at those kind of things. But I mean, I do think at the dog park, I could happen to run into a dude that loves dogs, has his dog there, also has a career that he's serious about. For them, it was just kind of more about what them being at that event says about that person. But again, you got to think about, well, but I don't enjoy those kind of things. And so, you know, obviously if he making the rounds at all these events, this is something he regularly does. He's interested in local politics or whatever. I'm using that as an example because that was the thing that was thrown at me a lot. Like, they started sliding event flyers under my damn door at work, like under my my office door, like, you should go to this. And I'm like,
go to a speed dating type thing?
I've done that before.
But would you, now that you're still single, I mean, is that something you would keep going to?
I hated it.
What's wrong with it?
So, speed dating, the problem with speed dating is by the time you get to that last person, that person don't get a good version of you, because you done went through the same, hi, I'm Red, I'm a therapist. You done went through the same fucking chit chat 14 times. So number 15, you ain't gonna get as enthusiastic Red as number 1 guy or that person either.
I've never been to one, but I feel like I would have like 20 different random things that I'm ready to say to people.
Most people
That's gonna make me seem crazy.
Yes. Because then another thing about speed dating is you only have like 7 minutes to impress this person enough to where they're like, okay, let me find. There's not a lot of time. And so usually it's spent with a little, you know, chit chat bullshit. And so I didn't enjoy it. It was a no. Like I said, at first it was kind of like, okay. But then by number 10, I was just kind of like, I just said this shit. Like, like I wish the basics could have been covered, and then we like can have some more interesting conversations. But you basically only have time to cover the basics. Like, and so you do that in rapid succession 15 times. It again, that last person don't get the best version of you, and you don't get the best version of them because you both tired by that. It's like, shit, I done said this shit 14 times tonight alone. So I don't.
You know what I
just don't think
silly
it works.
That people do to attract suitors, but this is very deeply embedded into our society. Is, you know, women who do body modifications.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't want to call it silly more so than just conditioning of what men expect and what
it's one
not
thing.
Really what men expect, but what a genre of men like and enjoy.
It's one thing. So, because I'm not 100% against body modification, but it's one thing if you're fixing something that you just have an insecurity about. Like if you're a A cup or flat chested girl that's always had like a an issue with that, just because of, you know, it's just a lot of things are gonna go, your clothes gonna fit different. If it's something like that and you decide you want to go have a modification done just because to make yourself feel better, so that you feel better in your clothes, whatever the case may be, that's one thing. Doing it because it's in trend or because you think niggas is gonna like it is a mistake, and it's stupid. It is silly. So, you know, I think there is a place for it if it's something that you've had, you know, an insecurity about, and it's something you can fix. Because I always say, you know, the flaws that you have an issue with that you can fix them. You know, work on them. Because some of the things aren't as easy as saving up money and going to a doctor. If it's something about your personality, something about who you are that you don't like, you're the only person that has the power to fix that. So, but yeah, getting it just so that you can attract, you know, basketball players at the NBA All-Star weekend is stupid.
Yeah, that's just not a good look to me.
I wait to see what all of these women, like what our elderly population is gonna look like when we're old. Can you imagine? Because like Nicki Minaj, they like our age. So like, can you imagine what the nursing homes are gonna look like? Like, obviously not Nicki, but like poor versions of Nicki. You don't think they're gonna make it?
No, they're gonna die early. They doing stuff to their body that ain't really. You just increase the possibility of infections. And,
yeah, you putting foreign objects in your body.
And then as your body ages around this ageless thing in your body,
yeah, like
when your body naturally stop being strong enough to carry that stuff, then you risk having to go back under the knife to get things removed. And I just think it's a big risk when you're doing it for those reasons that aren't for your own, you know, purposes. If it's for other people, then I just, you know. But also people who lie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's stupid to me.
It is. 'Cause you Bow Wow challenge out here.
I watched the episode of The Simpsons.
Okay.
Last night. In which, I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
Because you don't watch Simpsons.
In which they went into a cave because Homer wanted to find some coins or something. But Lisa started telling a story about her with Mr. Burns. And in that story, she told a story about Mr. Burns was telling a story about Mo falling in love with a woman. The teacher, Miss Krabappel.
Mo fell in love with Miss Krabappel?
Yeah, I don't know. This might have been in the later season. This might
have
been like season 18 or something.
Oh, okay.
But it went back to talk about when Miss Krabappel first came into town. She came in and said that she moved from where she was and got a divorce because her husband was an alcoholic. So she hate anybody that's connected to anything alcohol related. And so he lied and said that he was not a tavern owner. He said he was a therapist for people who have alcohol related issues.
Wow.
And so
that's the opposite.
He faked the funk, and then all of like the people from the bar, because he kicked them all out and closed the bar. All the people from the bar came back and was like confronted him in front of her, and he said, I don't know why this made everybody run away, but he said, hold on a second, let me go talk to my clients. And then he took them over to the side and he said, if y'all don't leave me alone, I'm gonna tell which one of y'all is gay. And they all just ran away. It was Mo, Homer, and the two dudes, the black dude and the other dude.
The Indian dude.
Nah, the two dudes that be in the bar, they work with Homer.
Oh, Mo and yeah, I know who he's talking about. I can't think of the names.
Yeah, and so they all ran away after he said.
Why did they all run away?
Exactly. I was like, the ones that were straight should have stayed, and then the one running away clearly.
Maybe they all got some gay shit that they passed. He's like,
that they don't let Mo know. But like, people lie to that degree. Like they try to manipulate something that's gonna make them have more favor
or
with somebody.
If you're a dishwasher, then just say that. Don't say you're a fine china. Like, don't make up shit for what you do. What you do is what you do. Like, no, you don't need to be.
Well, I'm just saying.
No,
you can rebrand.
No, you cannot. A dishwasher is a dishwasher. You can say fine china, cleansing artist if you want to, but we both know you just a dishwasher. Like, because either I'm gonna be with dating a dishwasher or I ain't. Cause you give it a fancy name don't make it no different than what it is. Your pay ain't gonna be no different than what it is. So either I'm gonna be accepting of it or I ain't. You can turn it into something. You can rebrand it, but it's still the same shit.
I feel like the person hearing it would be smart enough to say, "So you a dishwasher?"
Yep.
You know, like I mean,
I done had to do that before because it's like, what you a what? Like people make up stuff. They do. Like maybe not to the extent of fine china cleansing artists, but they do make up titles, and it's like you could have just said this simple version of that. Cause we both know that's what it is. That ain't impressive to me. It's sad. It mean you ashamed of what you do. That you went all out of the way to say that shit. Like when I was an administrative associate at AUM, that's what the fuck I told people when I met them. Cause that's what I was, which is basically just a secretary. That's what I was. I didn't make up no shit about what it was. That's where I was working at the time. Either you gonna be able to get with it or not. But like lying or rebranding, it don't do shit. Like it's still the same job with the same pay. You know, you can make it sound fancy, but we both know what it is.
I watched a video on Facebook. It was called "Don't French Your Move," and this dude told a whole story about how, you know, he met some girls. They were gonna get up to smoke, and then his cousin told him, "You know, you can't really handle them trees like that." And so he smoked some weed, and then after he got high, he was scared because he thought the ceiling fan was a helicopter. He was like, "How the hell did this chopper get in the house?" So that's another thing. Like, don't front and participate in something that you either don't normally do or don't, because you know when you're around people you like, it gives you a heightened level of wanting to do shit that you don't normally do.
Yeah.
You know, like if you know the last 3 times you took tequila shots, you woke up butt naked somewhere, then you should not take them tequila shots just because you're around somebody that you trying to think
right.
you bought it. Like, you'll be much better off saying, I don't fuck with tequila like that. It's going to be a bad night. I'm not going to do that.
Yep.
You will be, I mean, I feel like you will get much more respect
yeah, you would.
being up front than otherwise. And then now when you got them, when you catch them, then when you know y'all in a relationship and y'all been in a relationship for a while, now what you do is you have that tequila, and then they got to take care of you now. So,
or you could just not have the tequila.
I'm just saying, it's a callback. You'll be like, "Hey, you remember that time you tried to get me to take them tequila shots, and I said no, and you called me a bitch?" Well, I'm doing it tonight. I ain't gonna put hands on you, but you gonna have a hard time. You do that after the shots. Take 3 shots and be like, you finna have a bad night. I'm not gonna remember.
Don't act more aggressive than what you are because you think it's suppressed. Don't get your ass whooped. Okay, don't write checks you can't cash just because you want to seem like you aggressive and you take charge. That's women and men too. Like, I'm not finna go up and get in somebody's face that I wouldn't normally get up in because I want him like, you don't disrespect me. Like, I ain't finna do that shit. Hey, because guess what? What's really not attractive is getting your ass whooped in front of the person who you like. That's what's really not attractive.
Man, that's a lose-lose.
How is it a lose-lose?
Because if you don't do it for some women, if you don't do it now, you weak. And I don't really prescribe to those things. Like if a woman would call me weak, you don't need to be with her. She crazy. Fuck her.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't really care about that. But for a lot of men and a lot of women, if a man don't do it, then he's weak now, and that look bad for him. But if he do go and try to do it, and
get his ass
mollywopped, then now, you know, she don't feel like he the kind of person that can protect her.
So I don't feel like it's a lose-lose. If you're not gonna end up with her, it's better to not end up with her and not get your ass whooped than to not end up with her because you got your ass whooped. If you ain't gonna end up with the bitch anyway, then it's better to not have went through the trouble of fighting and getting your ass whooped. You gonna lose her either way. Shit. And plus, I don't want to be. I would not want to be with somebody who gonna encourage me to do no bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't trying to get arrested with you every time we go somewhere and somebody do some shit that you feel is disrespectful, so you gotta go start a fight. I'm not finna do. I don't like people like that. I ain't finna hang out with you every time we go out. You getting into it with somebody and shit. Then you looking to me to jump in or have something like, no, nigga, you wrote that check. Go on, cash it. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Nothing.
You know. The last thing I want to hear from a woman is you gonna let him talk to me like that. Because number one, my solution is we gonna remove ourselves from this situation. This is what I tell my clients. We will remove ourselves from a potentially hostile situation before it escalates into aggression. Number two, you gonna let him talk to you like that? You know, like tell me what you want to do, because we either leaving or he gonna keep running his mouth, because you know, I just don't know what somebody can say. I'm not somebody that's going to get up in somebody's face. I'm just not. I don't know what he been through. He might have woke up this morning and said, I'm gonna kill a nigga that fuck with me today.
Hey, you don't want to be that nigga.
He might not even discern whether he started or not. I don't know if he got a knife. I don't know if he concealed carry. It make a difference if he white or black. It make a difference if we in a liberal state versus a conservative state. It make a fucking big ass difference if I'm in Florida. Matter of fact, I don't want to go to Florida no more. That stand your ground shit is terrifying. It's too many variables, and I feel like if a woman say you gonna let him talk to me like that, I can't control his mouth. He's a grown man. He can make his decision. I mean, if I had some kind of mind control powers, then I would definitely make sure that he don't talk to you like that. But I don't have that. So my solution is we gonna leave. Okay? Is this your favorite place? Is this our birthday? Did they sit down the same time we sat down, or are they realistically about to leave coming up? Is this a random encounter? Random encounters are the worst.
Oh yeah.
I am not prepared with my rational self to be stabbed to death by somebody with mental health issues because you needed me to stand your ground
and not let him talk to me like that.
Exactly. Like, so that's not my thing. Is what I'm saying.
I teach an anger management class, and one of the things that I get oftentimes by the men in the class, and listen, this class is court ordered, so everybody in this room usually is in there because they done did some fuck shit when they was angry, whether it was to a child, a significant other, some bitch at the club or at work. They've done something. So all the time dudes talk about how, well, what you do when she pushing you and hitting on you and you know you supposed to just walk away. So what I always tell them is this. One, that's absolutely not okay. My mama always taught me don't give no lick that you ain't ready to receive back. So I don't put my hands on men because I don't want you putting your hands on me. And, you know, it's not a question of, you know, how you keep walking away from that. Why you staying around somebody that keep putting hands on you? Nobody in your life that cares about you should be putting you in a predicament where you gonna get your ass locked up. You know what I'm saying? Like you care about somebody, you're not gonna put them in a position where they finna get fucked up. Especially not out here where the police is. Oh Jesus! You just ain't gonna do that. So if she is constantly putting you in a position where because if you hit her and the police come, you know they do take both people a lot of times now. But women, we. You know, you might get taken off by yourself if she convinced it enough. So people that care about you should not be putting you in that position. I'm never going to put somebody, like even if I'm mad at you, because at the end of the day, we still going to be together. I'm not trying to get you fucked up in the game. I'm not. So you got to ask yourself why you keep allowing this person to do this shit. If she get mad and she can't control herself no better than putting hands on you, then you don't need to be with her at the end of the day, because if you hit her and y'all get into a fight, both y'all asses gonna get locked up. People that care about you don't put you in them positions. So, you know, one of the parts of managing your anger is not putting yourself in positions where you're gonna have to deal with fuck shit like that. So if you get with somebody and you see that they aggressive as shit when especially if you're a dude, women too, just in general, if you get with somebody that gets super aggressive when they're angry, you do not need to be with that person. Because y'all both finna get fucked up. And it ain't worth it.
Women, don't fake the funk with video games, okay?
Oh, yeah.
If you know your dude or the dude that you're, hoping to be with play games, don't fake the funk. Like one of my ex girlfriends when we were dating was like, "Hey, you got some games we can play?" And I'm like, "Oh hell yeah, we can play some games."
Call of Duty.
Never played a game ever again after that. After a 2-year relationship, I mean, only picked up a controller to clean up.
Damn.
To move it out of the way.
I play video games. I only play specific video games. So I will say that I do, but I'm specific. I don't play first person shooters because I ain't good at them. You don't want me on your team because you're going to get angry. So, I'm specific about, I do play games and I do like Marvel movies. I love comic book movies. I'm not a comic book geek though. I don't know shit about the original. So I'm not the person in the theater that's like, that's not how it happened in the comic book. Like, I don't do that. So like, I'm not that deep off into it. Because even then, even when you are interested in stuff, I feel like you still have to put a caveat about like how interested. And sometimes people take it and run with it, like, "Oh, she play video games. We can Call of Duty, NBA." Oh, no, I'm not gonna play any of those games with you. Those are not the games. Those are not the kind of games I play. So I try to be specific when listing my interests. I go hiking. I mentioned that I take the dogs with me, so like it ain't just you. Hiking with me, it's gonna be me and Remy because Kingston old, so I don't take him hiking, but Remy. But yeah, you don't pretend that just don't pretend that you have an interest that you don't have just to secure that person, because that person is thinking they found somebody to share this thing that they actually enjoy doing. Then they get your ass, and now you don't want to. Not only do you not enjoy doing it, you're gonna bitch and moan at them for doing the shit they was doing when you met them.
That's the thing. Like I think when it comes to certain things, it's even more critical. Video games, that's one of those critical moments.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how life would work if somebody plays video games as much as I do. Mm-hmm. I also don't know how life would work if somebody don't play video games at all and don't like it when they do. Like I need somebody who is aware that I play games as much as I do and would like to join in sometimes. Would a lot of times just watch and be okay with 2 TVs in the living room because I ain't choosing. like we can watch a movie together all the time, or you can watch me play the game. But if it have to be a situation where I gotta choose the game or she gotta watch her shows, I need some like we gonna have 2 TV. I'm committed to that. I'm trying to figure out the best in my head 2 TV set up in the living room. One mounted on the wall, one on the stand. I don't know. But that's one of those things where I don't think you can fake the funk for real. Like, it's one thing if you pretend like you into photography because that person a photographer. And because at the end of the day, if you don't participate, it ain't going to impact nothing else that they do. Like, that ain't something they expect you to do with them. And it's not something that, like, actively need to be decided. Are we going to watch a movie tonight or are you going to play the game?
Yeah.
Type situation. So
kids is another thing don't fake the funk on. I don't know if you know, what is her name? One of the women on The Real husband divorced her. So when they got together, she was very clear. I don't want no kids. I ain't having no kids. I ain't got no interest in children at all. Okay. He said that he was okay with that, but for him, I think he hadn't decided yet whether or not he wanted to be a dad. So they get married. They're married. He finally comes to a decision. His decision is that he does want to have kids. So then he started trying to pressure her into having a kid. She won't do it. So he divorced her, and like 3 months later, he got a girlfriend that's pregnant. If you know that there's a possibility, if somebody is upfront and say, "Hey, no kids ever, not gonna happen, not gonna do it," then even if you haven't decided, if you know that there's a possibility that you might down the road want to, that ain't the person for you, because they done told you it ain't no way, it's not gonna happen. So you need to abide by that, because what's not fair is for them to have told you that and then you finally decide and it's something different. That's with anything. If you know that you kind of up in the air and can go either way, that ain't the person for you. You need the possibility, and that person has told you ain't no possibility whatsoever at all. And it's an unnecessary thing. You know, she was devastated because she wasn't finna just have a baby just to, you know, just to keep her husband because, you know, she was like, shit, I told you that from jump. Like, it wasn't going to happen. Like, I was never going to be interested in becoming a mother. I don't want to do that. So he left her and went ahead. He went and found somebody who would give him a baby.
I feel like these days you need to set like dating relationship traps.
What? Like, what do you mean?
Like, you need to say stuff like, man, just wish Trump would go ahead and build that wall, and then just look them in the face and see what they gonna say. They gonna be like, man, what the fuck you on? You support Trump? No, and you answer correctly. Hey, we can move on.
But what if they're like, you damn right he need to build that fucking wall.
You know, trapped your ass. You fell for the little raccoon that went up under the box with the stick on it.
Oh yeah.
And you went to go get the little snack, and I pulled the string, and you in the trap. The trap mean that I ain't fucking with you no more. It's over. You answered wrong. That's what a trap is. Multiple choice. Should we build that wall? Fuck that wall. I don't support Trump. Or I understand the complexities of immigration issues that create some problems in our country, but I also support helping people who are seeking refuge from a country that has issues that Mexico has. You all the way went in. I'm like, oh shit, this person is complex. I like this. But you know,
you just gotta be honest. Like, I think a lot of the shit that people do that's silly to get folks is lying. Whether it's about whatever, it's not being honest. You just look, especially if you know you at a place in your life where you looking for the person you gonna spend the whole rest of your life with, then you need to be as honest as fucking possible. The rest of your life is a long ass time for you to be trying to put on this front you was doing in the beginning. So just be honest. Like, again, if you play video games or if you a girl that don't like niggas that play video games, why would you even want to date somebody who telling you that they play video games all the time? That's just going to be irritating for you because now you're going to be nagging at him all the time about playing damn video games. Listen. If you know that that's something that you just don't have an interest in and you don't really want to have a guy, there are plenty of men that don't really play video games like that. Plenty of men. Just find one of them dudes as opposed to finding somebody who does have that interest that you're trying to change. Like, just find you somebody who don't play. Not all dudes play video games. You know, there are a lot of men that don't play video games, whether because they never really developed an interest in it, they don't have the time to indulge in it, whatever the case may be. Just find one of them dudes.
And I think it's a difference between what we talking about and a representative.
Yes.
You know, to me, the representative just means that you ain't putting your traumas out there on day one.
Yeah.
Like, you're selling the best parts of yourself right now, but they are parts of you that actually exist.
They're not made up things.
Yeah. Opposed to, you know, telling a girl you could do a backflip, but you ain't never tried one before. And so you get up on top of this thing to do a backflip.
Break your damn neck.
Allison Brie. Have you ever seen Community? It's a white girl in Community named Annie. Annie Adderall.
Is that a joke name? Or that was her real last name?
All these people are in college now, but the only reason they in community college is because they somehow fucked up in high school or they past life.
Okay.
And Annie, she got addicted to Adderall.
And
kept taking pills.
So
and Troy, the football player played by Childish Gambino, he was a jock, but he broke his leg at a keg party, and he couldn't finish his season out, or his season football out. But
which meant he lost the scholarship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now he in community college. But she told a story about her stopping. Childish Gambino used to have a lot of parties when they were on that show, and they was all really cool group of people. And she stopped getting invited to the parties because she said they were all in the party and they were all drinking, and she was like, "Everybody watch this," and everybody looked at it, and she just flung her body back into a lamp, broke a lamp in his apartment, and then she got up and was like, "Okay, everybody go back to normal." And Danny Pudi, which is the character that played Abed, he said, "What exactly did you think was gonna happen?" And she said she thought in her head she was gonna flip back onto the floor, and you know how people jump back up with their hands, they push their hands back and jump back up in one motion. She said she thought she was gonna do that, but she didn't. She just flung her body into that man's lamp.
And she practiced it? Did she know she was capable
Not
of doing
at
it?
all. That's what I'm saying. Like, Don't say you can do a backflip and you never tried a backflip. You've never gotten close to doing a backflip. And backflip in this dialogue is just a representation of anything that you would do to impress somebody. If they can't be impressed with who the fuck you are, with all of your flaws, with all of your bullshit, well, that wouldn't lead to impression. But if they can't accept everything that you consist of, you don't want that. The way you get them is how you got to keep them. You know, if you do a backflip today, your ass got to do a backflip in 5 years, or shit ain't right. It's like, well, when we met, you did a backflip for me. You ain't backflipped in 3 years. Do a backflip, or this is over. You know, like, don't front your move. For me, I cook, but I'm not cooking no 5-course meal for somebody on day one. I got to do a 5-course meal on day 1,000.
And you ain't gonna want to do that.
You know what I'm saying? So people got to be able to accept what you got.
Okay, some people will probably get upset by this, and I'm a makeup wearer. I wear makeup. I do, but I do not think that you need to wear makeup to the point where it transforms your face into some shit it ain't. If you're in a dating situation. And the only reason that I say that, and again, makeup is an art, that's great. But if you the kind of bitch that feel like you gotta constantly have your face on, that get up in the middle of the night and run, touch your makeup on, so when he wake up you look the same, that's a problem. Because no, don't do that.
I said people do that.
Oh yeah. Because if you got skin issues or whatever the case it is that you covering up with the makeup, then you got to keep doing it to keep it covered so that they don't see what they actually got. I go makeup less sometimes. Like, you don't know what I already look like off top. It ain't going to be a problem. Like, and when I do my makeup, it's just me more polished. It's not, I don't slim my nose down. I don't give me high cheekbones that I don't have. Like, makeup is an art. It absolutely is. You can... You know, it's makeup artists that could do makeup in a way, only using makeup, shadows, light, and make themselves look like celebrities with nothing but makeup on. So you have to be very careful about that. Because the thing is, one, if you got issues with your skin, covering it up with makeup ain't gonna fix it. You need to figure out, visit a dermatologist, take better care of your skin. Covering your skin up with a bunch of makeup all the time exacerbates whatever problems you have. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and that guy gonna eventually see you without the makeup on. You gonna have to be okay with that. So I have no problem. Even people who wear heavy makeup, but you just need to know that that person, I feel like, has a right to see, you know, you. Because you is who he gonna be with on a day-to-day basis. Y'all get married, that's who he gonna see. What you look when you wake up in the morning after you done washed your face the night before, that's what he gonna see. So he need to be able to accept that. I wouldn't even want to be with nobody who couldn't accept my face for my face. Like, because I'm not gonna look polished up.
You know, I'm okay with what you need to do for you to look in the mirror and feel good about yourself. I'm okay with that. But for me, the line starts to get drawn where that is a result of some deep levels of insecurity that you have about this thing that I may not care about. Like, you know, I know it's hard you can't change somebody's reason for insecurity, but it would make me feel a certain type of way if some past insecurity of something that I enjoy or value or I'm okay with, you keep covering it up. I don't know, that'll feel a certain type of way. So the deeper you go with that level of insecurity for that thing you covering up, then, you know, that's where the line starts to get drawn for me.
Because even with beards being the makeup for men, you know, your beard stay on your face. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, makeup come off. And so, like I said, you know, I'm not going to sit up here and act like when I go on the first date I don't put on makeup. But my face looks like what it is. Minus the discoloration I have around my eyes and shit, but like, it's my face. So like, if you see me, if you come over and I'm sick and I open the door, you're not gonna be like, shit, who is it? Ain't gonna be that situation because I basically look the same, less polished. Like, I even up my skin tone with makeup. That's really about it. Like, you know, I don't I don't do all the light and shadow shit because again, that ain't what my face look like. So I think that's kind of silly too. And again, if you got problems with your skin, the answer is not by covering it up with this shit that's just gonna make it worse. Especially when it's like acne and shit. Makeup makes that so much worse. You have to let your skin breathe, man. Was that the last one? You had another one.
Two more.
Yeah, okay.
This is another email from Colin about the pastor. He 100% was like, I'm going to grab a titty. We all know damn well pastors be trifling.
Yes.
Some pastors be trifling.
Some pastors be, yeah.
But I mean, I think, you know, I think the male role in the Bible is steeped in misogyny and patriarchy. And I think some men take that to a vast extreme, you know, because the Bible intently defines how women are supposed to behave, and it gives men a lot of freedom. And so I was at a church where the pastor's wife was clearly not having the shit he was trying to have, because she was the pastor's wife and she was there, but she would wear pants to church, and conveniently his sermon would somehow have something to do
with women wearing pants.
And then one day she came to church with her hair cut, and just so happened that God sent him the message to talk about women whose hair got cut short.
She wasn't with the shits
at all. Like, I just imagine how many issues he was having with her from his limited perspective. And it's something that D.L. Hughley, I just been liking listening to D.L. Hughley lately. It's interesting seeing his journey from comedian to social commentator, but still with some comedy in there. But he said, he say something, the worst place that a black person can live is in the mind of a white person. Like, that's the worst place a black person can live, because in their mind, we big, we angry, we burly, we violent. Like, in white people's mind, that fuels how you interact with motherfuckers out there. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the same way for women in the mind of pastors. You know what I'm saying? Like,
terrible.
In the mind of a pastor, women should be submissive. Women should be quiet. Women should keep their hair long. Women should wear dresses. Women, it defines what women supposed to be doing. And just coincidentally, it coincides with all the shit men want. You know? So, yeah. I think that pastor has just been conditioned to get away with a lot of stuff in his little church and congregation and stuff. And now we see what it looked like on a big scale and how much flack you can get from something like that. Mm-hmm. 2, it's grande, but you roll the R. Like grande. Like I would tell people when I tutored in French, to work on pronunciation, exaggerate almost like a stereotype. Kind regards, Colin Smith.
I can't roll my R's in Spanish. So do Italians roll their R's?
I don't know if Italian words roll. But see, we might just be getting into some colonization type stuff. Like Grande might not be a traditional Italian name. It just might be some Spaniard history between them and Italians that may have rolled his name over into her family. I don't know enough to make any of those assertions, but I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna assume it's supposed to be said like they say in Mexico. Last email from Colin. First, come on, man. Spider-Man is from Sunnyside in Queens. Captain America is from Brooklyn. Also, to Red, get you some borax and make a little pastel out of borax, water, and baking soda. Put it in side drains and inside power outlets and in windows and door seals jams. No more bugs. Kind regards, Colin Smith.
Did I say I had bugs?
Did we talk about where silverfish come from, right?
Oh, yeah. And apartments and how they could travel. I don't use boric acid. I have in the past, but because the dogs are goofy as fuck, especially Remy, I feel like I use it in some places where they can't get to, but like around doors, he been and ate that shit and died. And it tells you on the thing to not use it if you have pets because they'll eat it and die. It's poison. So I do have some boric acid, but I only use it in the place where the dogs can't get to. Cause
So if you want to get rid of your dog, but
what the
want to
fuck?
pretend like you was just trying to get rid of bugs, then you should use some boric acid.
I would prefer you take them to the shelter. At least maybe they could possibly get another life out of it. You just gonna kill their ass. That's
Is
rude.
boric acid and borax two different things?
I think borax is like a brand of boric acid.
Oh, okay.
But it's just a white powder that gets rid of like roaches and silverfish and stuff. But it's poisonous, and so if you have pets, especially dogs, I don't know if cats go out like lick shit. They so smart, so I don't know if they like I don't know if they do that. But I know for sure the dogs just put everything in their damn mouth. So for them, it's too much of a hazard. So I just don't use it on where they could get to. But that does work for anybody listening that doesn't have pets, that does have because like living in an apartment,
or
man.
you have pets and you want plausible deniability.
Nope. I'm not going to suggest that. So that part came from On Point. I am not putting that out there. But, especially if you live in an apartment, because sometimes living in an apartment, one of the sucky things is like your neighbors could be fucking up and it'll impact you. So they could be nasty and roaches migrate and shit. So it is a good fix for that. So boric acid does work.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Colin.
Appreciate you.
You always have some entertaining feedback. And like I said, I did not think about how beards contribute to men's faces, but they absolutely do. 100%. So if you have a question you would like for us to answer on the show, you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Facebook, Conversation Con Artists, and reach us that way. Let's see. Have you listened to Kill Shot?
Mm-hmm.
So, MGK apparently said something about Eminem's daughter Haley. So on his Kamikaze album, he had a lot to say about MGK. So then MGK came out with Rap Devil. And in response to Rap Devil, Eminem made Kill Shot, which basically just addressed everything that MGK said in Rap Devil. I didn't understand the video for Rap Devil because he was walking around with that fucking bowl. I don't know if he was eating cereal or oatmeal or what, but like it was just kind of a weird choice. I guess he's unbothered. He was showing that he was unbothered by just like eating cereal in the middle of the street, I guess. I don't really know. That was weird. But everybody keeps saying they thought Eminem was gonna come harder, but I feel like if MGK says something else, then because Eminem is just he don't.
This whole thing was every point at MGK and laugh type situation. This was Eminem shit. Like Eminem shit was, look at his weird beard. Look at his name Machine Gun and he got a man bun. Look at him. Like that's what this whole track was. This whole track was basically, look at my record. I've been doing this since your ass was a baby. I'm going. The 1 year of work for me is better than your whole ass life is gonna be.
Yeah,
you ain't shit. That was Eminem's shit.
Basically.
I mean, I think a part of it is he probably don't got a lot of hardcore shit on Machine Gun Kelly to know very much.
And his life, like he got a daughter, he got some shit he could have said.
I mean, but like, what purpose would it make? Like,
yeah, that's another thing.
It wouldn't be smart for Eminem to bring his family into this situation when him talking about Eminem family was the reason all this shit got started.
True.
Anyway.
That's true.
But in this he mentioned Puff Daddy taking a hit out on Tupac.
Then he ended it with, I love you, Puff. I was just joking.
People did not like that. Like
just
Jay
thought-
Electronica, he came out with a whole angry ass tweet talking about, but you ain't gonna say nothing about Jimmy having been the person that made the most money off of Tupac's death. I don't know what that means, because I guess that whole world they got, but dang.
I mean, it was obviously just a joke.
But I mean, that's sensitive. That's a sensitive topic, because either Puff Daddy didn't do that, and clearly don't want to keep that shit keep being rehashed, or he did the shit and people gonna start looking at that shit again. I don't know. I would assume Eminem. I just imagine somebody in the world knows. Somebody know what the fuck happened to Tupac.
Yeah.
And we already know that Puff Daddy and Biggie, I don't want to say they got something to do with it, but Tupac was not silent about the fact that Biggie sent him to a hotel room that was full of guns with the serial number scratched off around the same time that like police was supposed to be coming, like they like he was trying to get set up or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's on purpose or if just rappers just always walking around with that I don't know. But Tupac in his head felt like that was a whole little conspiracy that all had something to do with it. So I don't know. I mean, this was just supposed to be Eminem saying,
I don't give a shit about you.
Okay, below.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to play with this right now. I'm going to toy with you right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really do nothing to me. You can't hurt my records. The only thing this can do is help Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
And he got an album coming out on like the 18th, I think.
He's so fucking thin, too. Just straight up and down.
So this is going to give him a lot more sales and a lot more listens than he would. And he signed a Bad Boy. So this interaction has the potential to legitimately boost his career. And the crazy thing about it is, he did this shit so long ago. Eminem just did this for nothing on Kamikaze.
Yeah. Well, I think he was just like all of the shit that's been said about him that he hasn't said and he hadn't responded to. He just decided he was gonna put all of that on this one album. So
what he alluded to in the skits and in some of his songs was that Paul and Dr. Dre on the last album
was telling him not to say shit,
which means he had shit to say, and he didn't because he was taking their advice. And now that's the worst album. And now Kamikaze come out, and now he talking shit again, and people love it. So it's like he'll never have another album where he don't speak his mind. No. Ever again.
Well, and again, as I said when we first talked about this album, I feel like it was content. It was what he was talking about, but also how I hated his flow on Revival. It was awful. It was terrible. It was this talk rap. I don't know what the fuck it was. I hated it so much. So glad he went back to that rapid fire rhyme flow that he has. Like, this is the Eminem that I like to see and the Eminem I like to listen to. That Revival shit was terrible. He don't need to listen to Paul or Dr. Dre. If that was their suggestion, he don't never need to do that never again in life, because that was awful. But if you haven't heard Rap Devil and Kill Shot,
I'm reading the lyrics. He actually say, "Here's that autograph for your daughter. I wrote it on a star."
He called him Stan.
He did.
He called him
Stan. So that's a response for that. So is this just a
no?
Line
He's
from
calling.
Stan?
He's calling MGK Stan.
Okay.
He's saying that he's Stan. He didn't dye his hair blonde like him, man.
I mean, even on the tweet that he said about Haley, that kind of led to Eminem beef with him. He did say Eminem was the GOAT. No offense. And
he said in Kill Shot, he was like, so was it a diss or was it a love letter? Because he was going, even in Rap Devil, he was going back and forth between saying he was the great. He did give Eminem some pop in the, which is weird because people don't do that in beefs, but he did. He was going back and forth between praising Eminem and trying to talk shit about him in Rap Devil. So Eminem, he said, he was like, was it a love letter or was it a beef? A diss or a love letter?
Well, I guess I heard it. I ain't listened to it. Came by it.
No, I listened to it.
Yeah.
Because I
No,
enjoy
listened to it
his
again.
wordplay.
Listened to both of 'em.
His wordplay is impressive. So yeah. So check that out if you haven't, and you give a shit, I guess, about either of them.
Webby.
Webby. That is a name I have not heard in a long time.
Webbie.
Oh my god.
Congratulations, sir. You can spell your name. Okay.
Oh, he was the one who spelled independent. He the reason a lot of people know how to spell independent, though.
Yeah.
INDP. Oh my god. Yes. Yep.
So, Webby, I just came across this today. Apparently, Webby walked in on his son, two other dudes in the bed in his house with a 14-year-old girl. And I think they all around the same age. You know, I think they all like 14, 15ish. But he walked in on 3 kids and her in the bed together. Now, and he live streamed them in his kitchen sitting around the table talking shit. Like basically saying, what's y'all parents' names and number? And this one dude had a hood on. He said, take that hood off. This ain't gonna save you. You finna give me your parents' numbers before y'all leave this house. Because he was like, and they ass tried to run out of this house before I put them on this live. Now, I don't know what Webby did to get their ass to come sit around that table and let him put a phone on them. I don't know what he did. I don't know if Webby like actively has security.
Hopefully guns were involved.
I don't know what he got going on to make them do that. You know, but it's a level, I don't know, it's a level of responsible parenting that I would not have expected from somebody like.
I thought this was going in a whole
Webby.
different direction when you said he pulled out a camera.
No. It was basically like him telling them what
Look
happened.
at him.
He said it was a party here last night that shouldn't have been happening. And his son was like, I ain't had nothing to do with that. He said, well, your ass had something to do with this. You ain't had nothing to do with that last night because you was asleep. But if you were woke, you would have had something to do with it. He was like, I thought I could trust you, man. Like, I thought I could trust you. Like, he was going there and he kept asking them for they phone. Like, give me y'all parent phone numbers. And he said, the reason I'm live streaming this, because I don't want none of y'all running out of here saying that Webby done did something. Webby done had me over here this. I want to make sure I'm live streaming this and people know what's going on.
He's fucking right, because a girl could have came back. I mean, I don't know if it's a come up when it's Webby, because it's Webby, but she could have like claimed rape, anything. It could, like, her parents get upset because girls do that a lot, and yeah, that was smart. I feel bad for what I initially said when we began talking about it.
I mean, it's just
smart.
It is smart. I would think that he would be like helping this along or something. Like, I don't know, because Boosie out here like getting his kids
strippers. He got him a prostitute.
Strippers.
Yeah.
You know, like, and they I don't want to say they homeboys, but they definitely collaborated on a lot. They're from the same place. So it was just really surprising when I saw Webby's son caught on a stream or Webby live streams having caught his son. I was like, oh my God, let me see what Webby talking about. And it was just really surprising that what he was saying was very appropriate.
Man. Because I was ready to talk shit about him.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Webby got his issues because he apparently held his baby mama hostage at some point and was abusive. And he got his issues. But he said something. He said, man, this single father shit, you know, is something different. So I got to make sure I'm recording and making sure that ain't nobody trying to lie on me and all that. So I was like, that, you know what, I'll give Webby props for that if I don't give a props enough. Because, you know, parenting ain't easy.
It's not.
Everybody got their own way.
And he wasn't, because I hated that fucking fad of parents shaming their kids online and cutting their hair in a stupid way and then putting it online for people to laugh at them, like, for a punishment. This was him covering his and his son's ass, basically, by saying, you know, y'all ain't finna go out here and say some shit went down that didn't. So I'm gonna make sure, you know what I'm saying? So I have nothing bad to say about that.
Yeah,
that was, go on, Webby.
Yeah, it was
shit. So 16-year-old girl was fatally stabbed during a school fight that was reportedly over a boy.
Okay.
I just can't understand.
These black kids.
Yes. I just saw the name. Yes, it
What she got
was.
stabbed with?
The deadly assault happened Wednesday when the girl identified as Dayana Gibson was stabbed twice in the chest by another teenage girl during a fight that was apparently over a boy at a suburban Detroit high school.
Detroit.
Mm-hmm. The two girls were both straight A students, apparently. I wonder what kind of student the boy was. I just feel like he's some little fuck boy in the making. Let me tell you something. And we had fights over dudes when I was in school. Girls got to fighting over boys. They did. Then nobody ever gets stabbed. Again, I say. It's like kids now don't know how to take a L. Sometimes you got to take a L. Sometimes you go and you fight and you lose. And that's what happens.
Your ass sounding like Pops from goddamn Friday. But you live to see another day.
They don't though. Like we had fights over boys, but if you got your ass whooped, you just got your wasn't nobody getting stabbed and shot and shit. Like you get into a fight, you would lose the fight or win it. You would go back to school that week. People was probably joning on you because you lost the fight. But then everybody moved the fuck on and it was what it was.
I am sure that in the 90s, somebody who got to fighting about a boy got killed.
But
I'm certain that happened back then.
But did it happen as often as it does now?
I mean, this is a one-off. I don't how often this is happening.
What? I feel like every year, where at least one of these stories, and it's more than one, but it's always one that's bad enough that makes it to the news. Like them girls that jumped the other girl in the bed. Like this happens a lot now.
I think it's really, really hard these days to tell whether something is more prevalent than it has been in the past, or if it's just more readily accessible because of how fast information spreads online now. I don't know what measure we would use to determine that metric, you know.
Well, not in places like Detroit, Long Beach, like places where violence has been, especially since in the night. I guess I mean more so where it's local for me, because those incidents, then people in those cities would have known about it, even if it wasn't widespread to where the whole country knows. The shit that I see locally wasn't happening when I was in high school. Like I didn't see all of these things. So I guess that's where
But that shit also had happened at the school I went to. From up to this point, none of that shit ever happened at my school either. And can you think of anything that happened at your school, even at this time period now?
We didn't have some shit happen at the school that I go to.
Like what?
They had. She brought a knife. She didn't stab the girl, but her intentions was to do so. But they, I think she told one of her friends went and snitched on her basically, and so they kind of got it before that was gonna happen. But that happened, minus the actual stabbing.
I mean, I think there's a lot of kids that come to school ready to do shit, and always have been. Like, I mean, like that accidental shooting at Huffman.
Mm-hmm.
That he ain't planning on shooting nobody, but he had that gun at school for a reason.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to think of it the whole time that I was in school. I don't believe anybody ever got caught with a weapon. Now that's not to say they didn't have it, but didn't nobody get caught having weapons?
Kids that got caught with weapons.
We never had nobody
that
got caught.
Used to wear certain colors all the time, and they would suspend them until they didn't wear blue no more.
Oh Jesus!
Or didn't wear red no more. Like that shit happened all the time. But like I said, I don't know if it's that the same level of all the bullshit have always happened, or we just got access to it now. We can see it happening more, so we think that the causality is that the times have changed. I'm not sure that's the case.
You don't think times have changed?
I think times have definitely changed when it comes to suicidal ideations and suicide. That's the only thing that happened that has increased significantly.
But how do you know that the suicide rates have increased?
Not just, I mean, because there are more deaths that's happening at the hands of high school, middle and high school age kids than there's ever been. But I mean, suicide rates have continued to go up in our society. Period. The trend has continued to rise. So I don't know if you can isolate that to the school thing, but like that, this is what their focus is now. Like in schools, the schools I go to, their focus is not finding kids with weapons. Their focus is kids who are talking about killing themselves. They already had 2 attempts at Oak Mountain.
Yeah, my one of my coworkers has, well, all her kids went there, but she only has one son still there. And yeah, every time they have that, she come in talking about it because she has to talk to her son about, you know.
Yeah, and I think that for me, what I think is that I didn't think that a lot of people knew suicide was an option. But I think that the spread of all this information fast, seeing all these suicide attempts from depression, I think it's created a new avenue by which people feel like they can do something about their issue.
Have there been suicides at schools like Huffman, Jones Valley, J.O.? Because I know Hoover, Oak Mountain, the schools with the kids that have, you know, families are a little bit better off will be at those schools.
Well, we know. I mean, we already know the suicide rate amongst black people is far lower than it is amongst white people. So I think when you start talking about that, the community shit, that you don't get that as much. But also, you're dealing with people at those schools, Huffman and J.O., who already ain't got shit. Like, they already know how to deal with bullshit. I think at the wealthier schools, the kids don't know how to deal with bullshit because they get all their needs met. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time. And that's what I think is reflective of the difference in those rates. You know, we dealing with all kind of trauma and shit every day. Not to invalidate the importance of it when it happens in the black community, but just pointing out that, you know, it's reasons why it happens amongst white people, young and old, and it's reasons why it don't happen as much amongst black people, young and old. So I think when you go to those systems where they are just marginalized, poverty-stricken environments where it's black kids all in there and Latinos in there, you ain't gonna get that issue as much.
Well, prayers for Dayana's parents.
But I do take that, you know, take that same dynamic to the school shootings. When they talking about school shootings, that shit ain't happening in the black schools.
With the exception of Huffman. Or not mass, that wasn't a mass shooting.
Yeah,
that was
accidental. Shootings happen in black schools, but mass shootings, ain't at black schools, ain't nobody coming into the school saying, I'm going to kill indiscriminately. Like, I don't care who get it. I'm just going to shoot some people, and that's going to be that. So, I don't know. It's some stuff changing. I just don't know how we measure between what's changing and us being able to see this more than we have been able to see it traditionally. I don't know. That's all I'm saying.
Well, unfortunately, a young girl died over. And what's so crazy, and I remember being in high school and how much you feel like, oh, this is it. He's it. It's a, you know. But it's just so crazy, like, at this age now, looking back, and when people would tell me, like, this shit ain't gonna matter to you when you get older, now being older, and the shit don't matter, it's just like, you done lost your life now. Like, she literally lost her life, but you done threw your life away over a nigga that's gonna be with another girl next week while you in juvie for killing this chick. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so crazy, like.
I wonder what kind of, you said juvie, which made me think, I wonder if they gonna have to, if she gonna be in jail for life, they gonna have to charge her as an adult.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, she not gonna be in jail for her whole life. I wonder what state is this in?
Michigan. It's Detroit.
Michigan. Okay. I don't know what their rules are about that.
Well, it's Detroit. So
I actually don't know no state's rules, so I don't know why I asked you that, thinking that if you told me a certain state I would know, I wouldn't. But
yeah.
But the way,
well, you know what? I take that back. She they both was like 17. They gonna charge her as an adult. She close enough to 18. They wouldn't charge her as a juvenile.
Yeah.
Especially not for a violent offense that was obviously premeditated because you stabbed her at school, which means you took a knife with you to school with the intent to stab her. So, yeah, she gonna be charged as an adult. Definitely at that age. Yeah. And in Detroit, they will. Little black girl's gonna.
I just don't understand. But I feel like This person was gonna kill somebody one day.
Oh yeah, and it
This
was probably going to be either
sociopathic
it was going to be over
behavior.
a boy or a man. But yeah, probably so. Probably got a little bit of narcissism. You belong to me. He belongs to me. How dare you eliminate the competition?
I hate to bring how she looks into the equation.
I didn't look at her. The girl that got shot or stabbed, or the girl that stabbed her?
The girl that stabbed her.
What she look like?
I don't know. I feel like she wouldn't have had no chance with this boy.
What a boy.
Ain't no boy.
Oh, that's the girl that got stabbed?
The one with hair got stabbed. The one with the blonde hair stabbed her.
I mean,
She looked like Al from Atlanta. She looked like Paperboy.
that shade of blonde does not look good on dark-skinned women. Listen, I believe dark-skinned women can wear blonde. Not that shade. It makes you look ashy. It's not a good shade of blonde. It looks like a fucking wig. It's terrible. I hate it. I hate when I see black women with that. Just, you can do blonde. There's so many shades of blonde. Just don't do that blonde. But there is a very substantial difference in what the attractiveness level of those young ladies would be considered as. But blonde hair look like she might be a little bit more Detroit than the other girl too. So again, she probably, whether it was over a boy or a man, at some point in her life, this is probably gonna happen. Mm-hmm. She has no control over her emotions. Probably grew up in a family where, aggression was what you did when somebody did something or took something that was yours. So, or what you deemed to be yours. Whew, that's terrible. But yeah, prayers to her family. I just don't know what I would do if like my teenager got killed by another teenager over some bullshit. Like, oh my God, Jesus. It's terrible.
So both them, Sean, Jean. Oh, I wonder if it's Sean.
Jean. It's Jean. I don't think it's ever
Sean.
John, probably. Not Jean.
Wait a minute. I don't know, man. It's just really hard for me to accept that his name is Sean John. Both them, Sean John.
This is his middle name.
Oh, Shim John. I don't know. Whatever. This is the gentleman that was shot in his home. And we talked about this last week.
We did.
Talking about them coming to shoot him. But, man, more stuff is coming out about this situation. So, the account of the officer is that she was tired. She got off of work. She came to the wrong apartment. And she went into that apartment. And she saw a shadow figure yell some directives for him to do. And then shot him when he didn't comply. Well, now, it turns out that there are witnesses that heard this exchange. And there are more visual cues that should have indicated that she wasn't at the right place. So, first, what the witness is saying is that they heard somebody beating on the door saying, "Let me in."
So, did you ever watch the video the white girl made?
No, I didn't watch that.
So, a white girl that lives in that complex made a video showing the door because the officer was saying the door was ajar. The door could not have been ajar. The door is like, if you've ever been to a hotel, you know that when you swipe your card, it turns green, you open the door. Those doors are weighted, so they close. There is not a way for you to prop that door open other than like putting the deadbolt out so that it don't close because the door is weighted. So she let the door go from two different vantage points, from like close up and from like far back. Both times the door slammed closed. There is no way that door was ajar unless the deadbolt was out. She also showed that they have like, it's not a card, but it's like a key that you just stick in and it lights up green if you have the right door, red if you don't. There's just no way that she just walked into that apartment.
Also, if the door had been propped by a lock, I feel like she would have said the door was propped open, not the door was ajar.
Yep.
Indicating that it could have been open. But that's the report of the neighbors. Mm-hmm. But there's also a red floor mat
in front of his door.
In front of his apartment. So let's run down this whole process for this woman. And some of this I read on the status.
She got off. She had to get off on the park in the wrong level of the parking deck.
No. Let's go before that. She consciously got off of work.
Mm-hmm.
Consciously got all the stuff from her job. Consciously got into her car. Consciously drove to where she lives at, and consciously parked into the parking garage. Consciously got everything out of her car, and we supposed to believe that at this point she started to become so weary in what she was doing that she went to the wrong floor of the apartment building that she lived. Of that wrong floor, she went to the wrong apartment, upon which she saw a red mat that should have indicated that you're not here. But even if you too tired for that, you put your key card in the door. It did not work. Now, the only thing that could happen, if this is the case, the only two things could have happened. Either that lock was out and the door was open, or the door was closed and she had to knock. And
the neighbors said that they heard somebody banging on the door.
Now, if she had to knock, then she was not there by accident.
No.
If you had,
because I don't knock when I go home right now, I ain't gonna knock on my damn door because ain't nobody be in there that can answer.
And if your key and if you go home and for some reason your key don't work, you're not gonna knock on your own door because what the fuck who's supposed to be in there? If your key don't work, you call somebody else outside of it. So
management, yeah.
If she indeed knocked on that door, it means so much more to this situation than what they're trying to sell. Now, they issued a warrant for them to search his apartment to determine whether he had some drugs or something on there.
What the fuck difference does it make when he's the victim? You need to search her apartment to find if she had drugs. Listen, and maybe she was high when she did all of this.
I don't give a fuck if that nigga had a missile launcher from Stark Industries. I don't give a fuck if that nigga had illegal pets that he was selling on the dark market. I don't give a fuck if that nigga had heist plans laid out for a goddamn bank or a museum. I don't give a fuck if that nigga had a brick of cocaine on the goddamn counter. I don't give a fuck. It don't matter. She ain't had none of that knowledge.
Nope.
In the event that was the case. But they found a little bit of weed.
A small amount of personal use weed. And they decided to put that in the papers, which is so fucked up.
I'm just interested in how they're going to use that to try to somehow apply to getting this officer some kind of leeway. What they need to be focusing on is her guilt and trying to figure out how to get her as least time as possible. But if they sit here trying to figure out
they gotta villainize him. They gotta villainize the bit. This is what happens every single time the police fuck up. It doesn't matter whether it's you in a car, they ask you for your license, you say I have a gun, I'm reaching for my license, and you shoot. Like anything that they can find to villainize the victim, this is what they do. And how sad is it that the only thing that y'all could find on him is that he had a small amount of personal weed in his apartment?
Why should the assumption have been that they were gonna find something? And you know what, I really need to know what a toxicology report on his body would be, because if he don't have no weed in his system, I'm not inclined to believe that it was actually his.
Yeah, some people have been saying that they think that they might have planted it to give her some kind of. I mean, it still don't matter because you didn't. First of all, it ain't even enough weed for you to receive a warrant. Like if they thought that he had drugs on him, or if you arrest somebody, that ain't gonna give you a warrant to go into their place. Like the amount of weed was so minuscule, but she didn't know it was in there. So what they got to do with her shooting him? The shooter had nothing to do with them arguing over his personal use weed. It was her going to the wrong apartment, supposedly.
But think of this process. After this woman shot this man in his own apartment, somebody said, we should search this place. Now, I don't know what their thoughts was when they said we should search this place, but that's what they said. And then they said we can't search this place without a warrant. And they went to a judge. They went to a judge with some kind of reason as to why they felt they should search that place. And you know what a judge said? A judge said, okay. I just don't know what reason could be why they would search it and why a judge would say yes after a man had lost his life.
Why did they need a warrant? Wasn't it a crime scene at the point that he got shot in the apartment?
Because his apartment wasn't necessarily...
It's a crime scene, though.
It's a crime scene, but I don't think you can, like, just search people's shit. Like, if it's a crime scene and the crime happened in the living room, I don't think you can go... And he ain't the shooter. I don't think you can go look at that man drawers.
But like, what if? So if I get killed in my apartment, they're gonna go all through the apartment to see. Well, I mean, it's a police officer, but and let's say it wasn't, to see if something's missing. Like they're not gonna get a search warrant to search my apartment if I'm a victim of a crime in my house, because they looking for evidence to the crime.
But the issue with a warrant is that warrants validate what you find as things that are prosecutable. If they find something in your drawer that's highly illegal and they didn't have a warrant for it.
But if I'm dead.
But I'm just saying, most warrants are carried out when people are alive. That's why this one is stupid.
Yeah.
This warrant is warrant so when you are looking to accuse somebody of a crime and you're looking for evidence of that crime, you can't, like, if they would have went in his apartment yesterday and didn't have a warrant and found something illegal without that warrant, then a lawyer would have that thrown out in court.
If he was alive. But what I'm saying is, at the point that he got killed in that apartment, I don't think just the room where his body is the crime scene. The whole apartment is the crime scene. So I don't understand why they needed to secure a warrant for this anyway. I wonder if it had something to do with it being an officer involved shooting, because again, if somebody come in my apartment and rob me and kill me in commission of that robbery, they're gonna go all throughout my apartment looking to, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not gonna get a warrant for that.
Well, what I'm saying,
because it's a crime scene. I know what you're saying, but in the case of somebody dying, do you get the warrant so that you don't violate the rights of that person?
But if the intention of what they're looking for something in his apartment for is to diminish and assassinate his character, we wouldn't know about that weed if they didn't have a warrant. They wouldn't be able to say that we found stuff in his apartment without it being validated by the system. Anything that, if their intention was to find something that might smear him enough for people to look at the officer and say, you know, maybe we can get her off by making him look crazy, the only way that they could find something to use would be to have a warrant to do it. Because, like I said, if they found out that he had a fucking illegal Colombian assault rifle under his cushion and they wanted to say that he could have pulled that out and shot her, and clearly he been dealing with the Colombians.
But that's just them processing the crime scene. You don't need a warrant to process a crime scene. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. If they had found a gun under the cushion, nobody was going to be like, well, why were you looking under his cushion? It's a violation of his rights, which is why you have to get a warrant with just cause. When it's a crime scene, though, what I'm saying is I don't understand why they needed a warrant to search a crime scene for evidence.
I think the crime has to be committed by that person. Like, you can't do that to a victim and treat the victim as a criminal in that situation.
But if you're assuming that the evidence is being looked at for them. If you're looking for evidence to solve their murder, why do you need a warrant for that? Like, obviously that wasn't their intent.
Because that would be an unrelated crime. That would be an unrelated crime at that point.
What would be an unrelated crime?
If anything they would find in that apartment that was not related to the crime that they were searching for, it would go into the crime scene room, but they wouldn't be able to use that then without a warrant for something unrelated.
But again, he's dead. They can't prosecute him for the weed. So it's not like they needed the warrant so that they can present this evidence as we prosecute him for this weed. Like, the warrant is to not violate that person's right, so that if you use it in pursuit of prosecution, it won't get thrown out. There was no fear of that in this case because he's dead. So it's not like they're gonna be prosecuting him for shit.
But it's not about prosecuting him. It's about prosecuting his character to save the character of the other person.
But prosecuting somebody's character don't have no rules. You don't have to have a warrant for that, is what I'm saying. The warrant just is purposeless to me. They didn't need a warrant to search his apartment because it was a crime scene. They could have went through that, still found the weed, still been like, while we were processing the scene, we found this weed that he had in his apartment.
I know, but I think that's the measure by which they would be able to use that in a courtroom while she's on trial.
If it was found during the course of processing the scene, they could still use it. I mean, because again, it's not going to be used to prosecute him because it ain't possible.
But they can't. They wouldn't use that to prosecute her.
But if it's, I mean, when you process a scene, because it's a crime scene, you don't have to have, the purpose is to process the scene where the crime happened. If you find stuff when you're processing the scene, I don't think it works the same way as if you went to that person's apartment specifically to search for evidence for a crime that's unrelated. The only reason the police were in his apartment is because of a crime that had been committed, his murder. So them being there didn't require a warrant, because their reason for being there and their reason for going through stuff would have been processing the scene of this murder. So, like, I still don't understand why they had to have the warrant. The warrant is, now, if somebody had gave them a heads up that he was some kind of drug dealer or whatever, they would have needed a warrant to go in and do that. But at the point that a place becomes a crime scene, I don't think you have to get a warrant to search a crime scene. And the whole apartment is a crime scene at that point, not just the room where he died. Because how do they know that shit didn't happen in the other rooms? They have to process it to find out. When somebody dies, everything around them, you got to look and see if there's any evidence to that crime. And if you find something in the process of processing the scene, I don't think it makes it inadmissible because you didn't have a warrant. Because the warrant wasn't necessary. It's a crime scene.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that the police are separating the crime scene of that officer having shot him from what other purposes they could use anything that they find in his apartment for. I don't think they would conflate both of those. Because,
but again, they can't use, I mean, other than assassinating him in a court of public opinion, they can't use the weed for shit. Like, they're gonna use it to make him seem like a bad person, but as legally there's nothing they can do with that because he's dead. So the warrant was unnecessary. Like, them using whatever they see, they could have said, again, in the process of us doing this crime scene, we found weed, we don't know if he was a dealer. Like, they could have said all the same shit they saying now, minus the warrant, because they found it in the process of processing the crime scene. Like, they don't have to have the warrant for that part, and they can still use it for the purpose that they're using it for now, which is to assassinate him. Actually, it would have looked less suspicious. It looks very suspicious getting a warrant to search this man's apartment when he was dead. Had they just been like, you know what, we was processing the scene like we're supposed to do, and we found this weed, it would have looked better for her than them going out seeking a warrant. When you go out and seek the warrant, it looked like you looking for some shit to assassinate him.
But I guess like I'm really skeptical about that, because what you're saying is they don't have to do anything different if they find something there to use it in the same way that they would use it to smear him or however to help her. So it wouldn't make no sense to even do that. So to me, I feel like that means that I don't know how much of a system works. Somebody advised them to do it this way, and they advised them to do it this way for a reason. So I'm looking at it. But
I'm trying to figure out what the reason is, because again, from a legal standpoint, they had a right to go through that entire apartment because it was a crime scene. And just because his body was found in the living room don't mean that they didn't have a struggle in the bedroom, don't mean that they didn't take a shower together before this shit happened in the bathroom. They weren't there, so they don't know. So when somebody dies, they process the whole shit. They don't process just that one room. And so if they find something while they're processing it, it doesn't make it inadmissible because you found it when you was processing a crime scene, as opposed to you didn't have a warrant to go in there. I think that the crime scene supersedes the need for a warrant. So I don't understand why they even needed the warrant. Like, I know somebody suggested that they do it. They did it. The judge gave it to them. But again, I just think that it was stupid because it puts more suspicious on them to make it look like that they're doing what they're trying to do, as opposed to had they just did process the scene, found shit that way, and just said we just happened to find it, that don't look as suspicious as
that's
this.
why, to me, I feel like there has to be two different contexts by which you find stuff on the scene and can use it versus when you use a warrant. To me, it got to be a different. It's got to be. Otherwise, what you saying that means is that they only did this to make themselves look more suspicious of why they.
I don't think they did it to make themselves look more suspicious.
But so to me, it has to be. I
just don't know what the reason is.
So Colin would be able to answer this for us, because I guess, Colin, you can answer for me what you do as it pertains to the legal field, because I know a lot of his statuses were about, law school and, legal stuff. I really don't know.
Well, I mean, murder and mayhem is like a hobby of mine. Because I watch it, and so that's just not the way that this, again.
But what I'm saying is, this is one of those very, very isolated, specific situations. You also never hear about when somebody got shot in their living room, about what they found in the person's bedroom when the person who is the one that got shot in their home. That never happens.
Because they don't have a need. Like, don't mean that they didn't find it. It just, they didn't have a need to tell people they found it.
But that's what I'm saying. This situation created the need to have to go into that room, and I think what I'm thinking is
they still should have went in there anyway. Even if it had been, they still would have went in that room and probably found that weed. If they processed the crime scene like they're supposed to and go looking through shit and to see again, because you weren't there, you don't know what happened. They still would have come about it regardless.
I'm trying to think of like some law stuff that I've seen. But when you find something on a scene of a crime and it's evidence to a scene of a crime, without that crime being resolved, you can't really tell people what you found, right? Like if all the stuff they find is in a box somewhere as evidence to a crime, but while all of that's still pending, you can't tell people what's been found.
Well, they do release stuff sometimes. I mean, it kind of just, it depends on the police, because an active investigation, sometimes they'll release stuff because it's helpful for the public to know it. Sometimes they release stuff to get the public's help. So they can release stuff. They do it sometimes. So it's not like while it's going on, they can't say shit about what was there or what happened, because they do in the instances where they need the public's help.
I mean, in active investigation, but this ain't one of them situations.
It's still an active investigation.
But this is not a situation where they would need the public's help.
No,
this is a situation where it would bring no value to know about that thing for them to, if they're not supposed to say it when it's just in a group of evidence, that would justify them saying he got weed.
But them having the warrant doesn't justify them saying anything to the public about it either.
But I think that depends on the reason that the judge would have given them the warrant. Like, they would literally have no reason, if this was just a part of evidence, to say we found weed on him.
Other than just smearing his character.
But that's still no reason.
It is a reason if you trying to help your fellow officer out.
There's no reason that's not going to make them look like shit.
Well, this whole thing makes them look like shit. The warrant makes them look like shit.
But what I'm saying is, it depends on the reason they gave a judge. I mean, they went to a professional, and the judge can say no.
He can't. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that I don't know what that reason was. You're saying you think that I don't know what. Do you think they went and said we need to go find some shit so we can save our office? I don't think that's what they said to the judge. No, I don't know what it is.
I'm saying that there is, from a judge's perspective, a reasonable enough.
But I don't know what that is.
Reasons, because I feel like the judge would have said, "Well, did y'all find that at the scene of the crime?" Or maybe it's a time limit. Maybe if they went through the time,
they didn't go to him and said we found weed. We need a warrant for other stuff. They probably went and said they need a warrant, but I don't know what the reason was they asked for the warrant. I don't think the weed was the reason they asked for the warrant.
Do you know if they can, like, so if a murder happened here in my living room, and they come and they complete the crime scene and they're done, and they don't find no weed or nothing like that, can they come back anytime and look for more?
Long as
at a certain point, if they need to look more, they got to get a warrant. Like,
once they release the crime scene, they can't just come back to your house because it's no longer a crime scene. But I don't know what the process of release, because once it's a crime scene, people you have to find some. Your roommate would have to find somewhere else to stay. He wouldn't be able to come back here. At the point that they released it and told him he could come back, at that point they would need a warrant because they've released the crime scene.
This happened like days out. Like, we found out about the weed like 6 days after.
So either they had released the crime scene, and that would be a reason that they would need a warrant to go back into his apartment, because at the point that it's no longer a crime scene, they can't just go back looking for shit. So what may have happened is it got released because they did it. Maybe they didn't look for shit there because there wouldn't have been a reason that night. You know what I'm saying? And when they see that it's looking bad for their officer, they might have decided they need to go back and search his shit and went and asked. Now that would make sense if they had released the crime scene and needed to go back.
And I guess this only makes sense if her account of the story is accurate. If she walked into there, saw him, and then gave him orders, it would only make sense if it was possible that he was intoxicated to a point that he got aggressive or something. But that still don't change the fact that you shouldn't have been in his house and that she shouldn't have been there.
Well, and she ain't even claiming he got. She just said that he didn't follow her directives and she shot him. He wouldn't get down on the ground or whatever it was that she told him to do. She didn't even say he got aggressive. He wouldn't follow her directives, and so she just shot him because that makes sense.
And if somebody came into my house and I wasn't certain they was a police officer, or maybe if they was a police officer, I mean, if they had on all the... Listen, if somebody walked in here...
I could go buy a police officer outfit right now and just go to somebody's door at nighttime and knock, and I'm not really a police officer. So, like, if I'm in my house, and again, the whole door ajar being thing, because I just don't believe the door was ajar, but let's say it was. If I come out of my room and it's a person in the shadows standing in the door, it looks like it might be a police officer. The fact that you're standing in my door and I don't understand how you got in, I'm not gonna be like, hey officer, what you I'm gonna go back in the room, barricade myself in and call the fucking police.
I really feel if anybody walk in here with a gun pointed at me and say get your ass on the floor, I'm probably gonna get on the floor. Like I don't care if it's the neighborhood goon or somebody in the full police gear or somebody in military gear. If somebody come kick in this door right now and say get on the floor, I don't have no measure of recourse. I don't got guns.
I don't either, but like again, me living by myself, if that shit happened, I would run, barricade myself in my bedroom and call the police. And maybe hopefully they could possibly get there before I die, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna fight. Not him. I'm gonna fight through trying to keep his ass out my room.
I feel like I'm just gonna pass out.
I'm gonna throw that damn dresser across.
I'm gonna pass out.
You ain't getting in here. Or I ain't gonna sick the dogs on you. You might shoot my dogs, so I won't sick them on you. But I would run
You ain't even got no damn order to seek your dogs on people.
I mean, look, Remy, you let him out.
He gonna lick the man with the gun. He gonna be trying to have fun with the motherfucker.
They ain't gonna know it. He looks like he might try to bite you. They don't know he's friendly, but he won't.
Your dog gonna get shot. I hope you feel good about your dog getting shot in the face thinking he about to play.
Said that I would not send them out there because they ain't gonna attack nobody and they ain't gonna be helpful. Kingston ain't gonna go out there because he don't give a shit about nobody but himself. He gonna try to save himself. Remy would go try to play. So I wouldn't send them. I just said that. I would put up my dresser over the door so they couldn't just bust in. I would be down on the floor so if they start shooting in there, they don't hit me. And I would call the fucking police. Again, at least I got a chance. Maybe they'll get there before you find your way into this fucking room. But I ain't even just get down on the ground because I'm definitely going to the end. I'm going to try. I ain't got no guns and shit in my house, but I can hide and run and go through the window and shit. I live on the second floor. It ain't that high up. Whatever I need to do to get the fuck out of there and leave you in there, that is what I will do. So I just don't see me getting down on the ground. That's an automatic rape and murder.
I feel like if you're a black person and you get confronted with the police, I feel like you should just keep your back to the police the entire time.
Why?
Because I feel like the only way that in the event that they do shoot you, that it can be deemed that you definitely weren't finna do shit is if your back was to him.
They'll say you were reaching for something while you with your back turned to him. I don't trust that. I feel like you still gonna
think you John Wayne out of this motherfucker.
He was reaching for the. I don't know.
I'm also saying keep your fucking hands up in the air with your back to him. I mean anything they would tell you to do, I would feel like you should just keep your back to him. Just officer, I'm not reaching for anything. But I'm going to keep my back to you because if you shoot me, autopsy is going to show that I was shot in the back however many times you shoot me. I will not be facing you. Like, I don't know what kind of powers you think I got while you facing me with a gun to me, with your finger on the trigger, ready to shoot, that I think I can turn around fast enough to reach for something and then shoot you. Like, I don't know, man. I always say I'm going to play possum. I'm gonna just go limp on their ass, dead weight.
Like again, I would be again because I watch too much Murder and Mayhem. I would be thinking back to these serial killers that was like pretending that I just wouldn't trust it because why? Okay, if you are a police officer, why you just didn't bust up in my apartment like this? Like You didn't knock nothing. Just no, that's weird. I'm gonna call the police 911, and if you are an officer, I'll find out that damn way. But I'm not gonna trust your word in the dark in the middle of the night that you didn't just came busting up in my apartment. Anybody can say they the fucking police. I don't trust that. I'm not gonna do it. The people, this dispatch gonna have to tell me that you slide your bag. I'm gonna have to see some proof. I ain't trusting. So I don't trust just because you say you a police officer that you are. It's been many a bitch that got killed. Believe in shit like that. Nut red.
We got like 8 minutes left.
Oh shit.
What else did you have? I guess let's just go down a quick rundown of everything else we had.
Okay. Lil Wayne is officially the sole owner of Young Money. I don't know what he's gonna do with it at this point because it seemed like everybody kind of just done with the shits. But
he still got
Nicki.
I'm sure he got plenty of publishing. I'm sure he got plenty of stuff that will make him residual income.
But I mean, new artists moving forward with new music. I don't know because Drake got OVO. And he kind of doing that his own shit with that. He still got Nicki. I don't know if she Young Money or Cash Money because now they separate. I don't know.
Don't matter. Well, no, all them Young Money. Like okay. Drake might OVO. He might have OVO, but Lil Wayne got a hold in that. It's just like Eminem was making a ton of money off of 50 Cent, and Dre was making a ton of money off of Eminem and 50 Cent.
He may be making residual, but Drake did. If you're reading this, it's too late. He was trying to finish out what he owed them as far as albums. At this point, I don't think he owed them nothing. I think he doing his shit on the OVO now. I don't think he owes them anything else. Because when Wayne and Birdman was going back and forth and fighting and shit about who owed money and this and that, he honored his contract unless he re-signed with them, which I don't. Why would he at this point? He don't need to. I don't think they got Drake no more. I think his shit is completely under OVO now. He got Nicki though. Nick is still there.
That might be something that Gerard or Cole Jackson can help us understand.
Cause I feel like I remember, cause if you're reading this, it's too late. Just came out of no fucking where. Like he wasn't, And I remember reading or hearing them say that this was him trying to finish out his contractual obligation because he owed them only so many albums, and after he gave them the amount of albums that he could either re-sign or he could do what he wanted to do. And why would he re-sign if he has his own shit?
On what kind of contract you sign? Because I've always got to me, like if it was possible for Eminem to get from under Dre, then why not do that? And if it was possible for 50 Cent to get from under Eminem, why would you do it? Like I think people end up signing contracts that keep them from being able to get.
50 Cent would not do well on his own without Eminem. I feel like
that's what I'm saying. That's every artist.
I feel like Drake. Yeah, I mean, but I'm saying at this point, Eminem has made himself out to where he could do what he wanted to do if he wanted to. But I think him and Dre they seem to truly have like a relationship, him and Dre. So he may not have a desire to, but if you didn't like what was going on your label and it was a bunch of bullshit, why would you stay? If you have gotten as big as Drake has gotten and you could go off on your own and not deal with the shit they got going on. Because for a while, I mean, this just happened where Lil Wayne got Young Money. But, they were going back and forth. Lil Wayne couldn't even put out no damn music that he wanted to because, why would you want to stay at a label where shit was all upside down like that when you've made a name for yourself where you could go out on your own and still remain successful? Like, I think people stay if they want to and shit is good. Why would you leave? But if you had the ability to go out on your own and not have to deal with the shits, I would leave if I was Drake.
What's probably more valuable to an OVO or all them system is that how much of your publishing do they own? Like when he was under Young Money, how much of that publishing is still partly owned by Lil Wayne? So
I'm sure that's I'm sure the contract has all of that. His original contract, and if you leave, this percentage of the publishing remains with us for any of the music that was made while under contract with us. Like they could just put that in the contract, and you could leave that. Why that ain't gonna make you stay if you can go on to make your own label and have all the publishing.
I know. I'm just saying you saying that you don't know what relevance being the sole owner of Young Money brings, but it really legitimately can just bring a shitload of money to him that was going to Baby then.
Oh Oh yeah, well no, I just meant again like moving forward for him and like signing new artists. It's kind of again they've been in the new him and Baby and Cash Money, Young Money, all of the shit that's been going on. It just don't seem like a stable system right now. So of course the publishing and stuff that cool, but I mean I don't know what he gonna do moving forward, like signing new artists.
Well, to be honest, it sounds like it might be a much better deal for them artists that done got caught up in all this stuff.
Because they had a
Lil
ton
Wayne
of people
got
sign
to be a better superior
than
than
Baby.
He gotta be. Like I just imagine Baby wasn't paying none of them cats who was signed.
It was a ton of them signed
You
to
know what
that
I'm saying?
shit that we never heard music from.
And you know what? They probably still signed to Young Money because they had album obligations.
Yeah.
And when that label ain't helping you pay the tour, pay to promote, all of that, you're not gonna get your albums out and done in an official format. So I imagine that now Lil Wayne gonna be able to focus on the artists, assuming that Lil Wayne, because I think back then Lil Wayne was very involved in getting Young Money and the artists that they had.
I wonder if he still care now. I mean, about like I'm trying to. I can't even think of none of them damn artists' name. But like on Bedrock, not Drake and obviously not Nicki, but all of the rest of them, and not Tyga because Tyga got out of his contract with them too. So all them other artists that was on that or in that video, like them. Do people want to hear? Like, is people still waiting for? I can't think of none of their names. Like, that's how much I'm like, I can't even think of none of the niggas' names that was on that song, other than Nick and Drake and Tyga.
So I was gonna talk about the cartoonist that did that Serena Williams cartoon and how the picture that he used is just remnant of those old Sambo type depictions of black people.
Did you see when he came back and showed the other cartoons of white men tennis people that he's did those same kind of drawings of? Yeah, he did. He can't, because like people were saying, calling him a racist,
like that?
calling him a sexist. They look similar, yeah. Because some guy, I don't follow tennis, some white guy that got mad at a ref's call, apparently broke his tennis racket. So he made one of a character that looked like that with the tennis racket breaking it. So that's his defense, is that he does everybody like that, and it wasn't just her. He draws all
But it can't
athletes.
be with the big lips, really?
I don't know about the lips. I just know he did a response.
I don't know, man. I still think it's important to know the history of why people would say this and think that this is racist, regardless of whether you do it the same for other people or not. I mean, our society has created a whole bunch of different contexts by which people exist.
Yeah.
So,
that was his response to it, though.
That an Alabama pastor in our maybe great state, maybe not, destroys Nike gear during sermon over Colin Kaepernick support.
Jesus Christ. Safe space for white students.
I really wanted to talk about this, but I'm gonna see what next. I want to see what uncovers from this next week. R. Kelly sexually abused teen cousin, singer's brother says. I don't know how credible he is.
They made a safe space for white students at the University of Maryland because they started doing the safe spaces for black folks, and white people can't be left out. So
yeah.
And it's called White Awake.
Yeah.
And then also there's been like 500,000 residents without power because of Florence. These hurricane season. Y'all be careful out there. And then there's a Georgia school that wants to go back to using paddles on the students.
That's stupid, man. That's just based on this idea that abuse supposed to help.
Well,
it help if you a slave.
Parents must have been with it. I'm sure they had to get the okay of the parents to do that shit.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I really don't agree. I mean, if you're gonna be a corporal punishment, if you're gonna do corporal punishment, it just need to be the parent. It don't need to be nobody else. I don't even believe in step parents whooping kids that belong to the other parent. I just don't. It just have way too much room to go south. I guess the only variable for that is if you like you get together with that person while that baby is an infant. But I don't think it should ever be a situation where you go from parents whooping a kid and then a new person whooping a kid when the kid know that ain't they
Parent.
parent. But anyway, yeah, we out of time.
Yeah. Alrighty.
You got anything else on your mind that's worth going more over the time we had?
Nope, I'm gonna take some cold medicine.
All right. Well, until we come to the next conversation,
We out.
holla.